What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of TROP-CAST. This is episode 33, and we are here with a smaller crew than usual, but we're going to do an E3 2019 review show. Just go through each press conference, what we liked, what we didn't like, and hopefully you guys will come along for the ride. Make sure you drop comments in the YouTube, and we'll answer your questions at the end of the show. With me, we have Jack. How are you doing, Jack?
Good evening, folks.
And we have Pat. What's the story, man?
What's the crack, lads?
This
not much yourself.
This one is we weren't going to do a show. We were going to run a stream and play a few video games and talk about E3, but it turned out that none of us had the same game, so we said we'd just run a show. So this is a little bit off the cusp, guys, but I'm gonna ask you the same question as we do every time, because it would feel wrong if I didn't. And that's, what have you been playing for the last 3 weeks? We've been out of service for the last while. Just a couple of things got in the way. A couple of us were sick, on holidays and whatnot, but we're back. We're going to run this show off the cusp, and next week we'll be back to our usual format. So apologies for any mishaps that we have along the way, but we'll try and bring as a good a show as possible to you. Jack, what have you been playing?
I have been playing my typical Mario Kart. What's over there?
Okay.
I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World again recently.
How is that going for you?
I'm about 50 hours in, and I'm still only I'm not even 3/4 of the way through the story, I'd say, because I've been doing all the side bits. I'm kind of grinding out for specific armors, better weapons, all that type of stuff.
Are you going for the platinum, yeah? Is that what you said?
Oh, I am indeed.
How many hours is that going to take you?
It's supposedly 250 plus.
Wow. Oh, is that the hardest platinum you've ever got?
After Digimon, it's going to be Child's Play, because Digimon was a completely different grind than this.
Oh yeah, that was the one that nearly broke you, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'll be grand with this. And then I was actually playing Crash Bandicoot there last night for the first
nice.
time in about a year, I think.
And tell the good folks what you were playing on, Jack.
I was playing on Twitch. I was streaming it.
Woo, look at you.
For the first time in about a year.
Twitch streamer, my man.
And I forgot how hard that game was.
How did you get on Twitch?
I actually got on all right. So for the first time, so I was going to do another one tonight, but then I forgot this was on and everything. So I was like, you know what? We'll do that now. Saturday we'll finish off getting all the gems and finish off the first game, and then we'll move on to Crash 2.
So tell us, did you just kind of go straight from the PlayStation to Twitch, or what way you running?
Yeah, straight from PlayStation to Twitch at the moment, because I don't have the means of actually streaming it through a computer or a laptop just yet. But in time, I'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I'd always kind of recommend the fact that you're starting off, it's a really viable way of streaming. I mean, I still do it off the PlayStation as well. When I'm streaming off the PC, I do use OBS, but the PlayStation, it's so handy just to hit that share button, hit broadcast and stream. What I'd say to you, Jack, is just keep doing it. No matter whether you're playing or whether you're on the mic or not on the mic, just jump onto a stream and just get used to the kind of the format, and just being able to jump on, talk to yourself, just get a bit of practice in. But I think you'll do great. I want to see some of them speed runs. Have you been playing anything else, or?
No, that's really been the bones of it for past couple of weeks.
Pat, what have you been jamming now that Division 2 is in the background?
Well, I've actually been playing a few more retro games. Playing Medal of Honor Frontline there, and I've been playing Urban Reign for the PS2. And PS4 wise, I've just been playing a bit of Team Sonic Racing and Undernight, Stay, Blade, Fantasy, Bizarre. It has a really long name, but I know it starts as Undernight.
Super 4 or something like that.
Something like that. But yeah, that's a 2D fighting game from Arc System Works, so it is. So
okay,
pretty
sweet.
good.
Deadly. Still rocking that retro anyway.
Still rocking retro, yeah.
What have I been playing? I actually went back to play Horizon Zero Dawn. Went back, jumped into that. My son started playing it, and I kind of went in and he was stuck in a couple of bits. A couple of the parts in that game where you're fighting against humans, it can be a little bit difficult because I suppose the mechanics aren't really built around fighting other human beings, even though there's a lot of segments like that. That game is phenomenally gorgeous. Like, it really is still mind-blowing to this day. You jump into the photo mode and you just appreciate the lighting effects and the character design, and just that kind of, that overall art style is just, it's timeless. I can't wait to see when the next one of them is announced, and it's got a great story as well to go with it. So I've been playing my usual FIFA, a little bit of Ultimate Team, and we've been playing co-ops with some of the guys. What else have I been playing? Yeah, I played a bit of Monster Hunter. For me, the game is brilliant, but it's so grindy, and it takes a lot of time to really find your way in that. I felt like I kind of rushed through the opening area a little bit too quickly, and I was a little bit underpowered when I got to the second area, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. I was thinking, okay, let's go back to the first area, build myself up, and then we'll push on, but I just haven't seemed to do that yet. And I suppose the last game I have been playing a lot of is Forza Horizon 4, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. They released some new DLC for that during the E3 press conference, which we're going to jump into right now. So what we'll do is I have kind of a review of the whole E3 press conference, but guys, just before we kind of jump in, I want to kind of get your overall opinion first and foremost before we do start diving into the details. Jack, what did you make of this E3? Was it mind-blowing for you? Was it a little bit of a letdown? Do you think it was right that Sony jumped out? I know I'm throwing loads of questions at you, but this is kind of what I want to discuss.
No, it's fine. As a whole, the E3 was a bit of a letdown. Don't get me wrong, there was a couple of announcements that do actually have me going, ooh, that was good. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. For example, Cyberpunk 2077. As soon as they announced the release date for that, I went out and actually pre-ordered the collector's edition for it.
Oh, nice.
I was like, yeah, no, I want that. That's a game I've been waiting for ever since they originally announced it was.
And that's the power of John Wick, isn't it?
It wasn't even John Wick. It was just ever since I originally saw the announcement for it.
Or the Fortnite guy. Take your pick.
I like that one. Oh my god, it's Fortnite guy. But no, in all honesty, looking at it compared to last year's E3, I can see now why Sony wanted to kind of steer clear of it. Because as a whole, yes, there was some good announcements, but as a whole, it was just a bit of a letdown.
Okay. So, favorite game of the conference, without going into too much detail? We'll go into detail when we hit it on the
Definitely
kind of flow.
Cyberpunk.
Okay, perfect. Pat, what did you make of it?
Well, it was definitely overall, I thought it was like decent. It had its moments, and it had some rather unfortunate moments as well. But yeah, I felt like most of the conferences were handled pretty well. Just maybe a lack of gameplay, but overall, I thought it was decent.
Okay. For me, I suppose the overall for me was I was a little bit disappointed watching it live, but when I kind of sat back and started looking over about, you know, what the conference has brought to the table, I think you'll find that, you know, there was a lot mentioned, there was a lot of games announced, and my biggest take home that I was a bit disappointed was the lack of gameplay that we've seen in the video games. When I see a game, I want to see what you're going to be doing in that game. I don't want to see a scripted CGI trailer of a game. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. It's very 2006. You know, you get blown away by this awesome CGI trailer, scripted CGI trailer. Yes, amazing. You get hyped for the characters, but I think that style of marketing is gone for me, especially. I know there is other people out there that like that kind of style because you really kind of get a look at the characters, you know, as good as they're going to look. But for me, I like it a little bit more to the gameplay side of things, and we'll talk a little bit about what people brought to the show that I really was impressed with and not. So let's start off, guys. So first of all, we had before kind of the main event started, we had the EA Play, and what did you think of this, guys, overall? Like, there was a couple of games brought to the table. I mean, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Let's start with that one. Is anyone interested after seeing the gameplay of that, or let's throw it to Jack.
I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but I was never actually the biggest fan of Star Wars, and that includes the games. So I'm not as pushed on it as a lot of other people are, but at the same time, it does look like it could be good. But either way, I don't think I'll be getting it day one kind of thing.
That's fair. Nobody's asking you to like something that you don't want to like. That's at least you can give your opinion. Pat, what do you think? Are you a Star Wars fan or?
Oh, I like to consider myself a Star.
You're getting a little bit of a dropout in your mic, Pat.
Yeah.
Am I? I don't even know what that means.
You're just like totally dropping out when you go to talk.
Right. Let me see.
Keep it going anyway. I'll let you know if it happens again.
Well, I thought it was okay. Like I didn't particularly like what I saw. It was it reminds me of so many other games at this stage. It's like there's nothing really new there. And I noticed their alpha, but I noticed a few glitches where the characters just actually stopped moving and got stuck.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a bit worrying at the moment to have something like that. But like it looks good. It seems to. I think it will be like if you play it, I say you'd have fun. But other than that, I don't think it would be like purely amazing. Like it won't stand out as the top tier game compared to others.
Okay, I'm going to go against the grain here. It was one of my games of the show for the simple fact that we've seen a lot of gameplay. Yes, I do understand the parts that you've seen. There is a few little bits that were kind of a little bit glitchy, but it is still early days. And reports are the game is finished from start to finish. The story part. So they're literally tidying up what's in between. I warmed to this game a lot more than the first time we seen it. The first time we seen it was one of those scripted CGI trailers back 2 or 3 months ago, and I actually thought this game was in big trouble because I thought Respawn were actually going to be stretched thin, working on Apex, that being so popular, and then getting to work on one of the biggest franchises in the world. Seeing the game, it looks to me like they're going down the Force Awakens style game. I don't know whether if you've played that one or not, but it was one where you take control of a Jedi, and it was a third person action game. And I think the graphics look amazing, but what kind of intrigues me more with Respawn is their ability to tell a story, and for them to be able to tell a story within the Star Wars universe, make it canon. I mean, if anyone out there played Titanfall 2, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's one of the best underrated first person shooter campaigns of all time. It is just class, and to have them working on a Star Wars game, this is we don't EA have a 10-year lease on the Star Wars license, and I think it's up in like maybe 2 or 3 years, and all they've done is these Battlefront games. So to allow Respawn to come in and do their own single player story, that's what I'm interested in. And it is very different. You're a Jedi, you're on the run, and I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to see more of it, and I hope for Respawn's sake that they come out and blow it out of the water. But I'm hoping for big things for that one. And then we had, I suppose, the usual carry on. We had Apex Legends. There was you had kind of what the roadmap for that game is. I personally have stopped playing that recently. I'll jump in every now and again, but have you guys stopped playing? Are you still playing that one?
It's gone.
Okay, yeah, so same with me. I uninstalled it as well. Battlefield 5, I mean, if any of you are looking at my streams lately, I'm playing Battlefield 4, and that's 2 games before Battlefield 5, so I'm right back playing the old school one. Then we had EA FIFA 2020. I am super excited for this anyway, but I can tell it didn't really show that well. The whole Volta thing, the FIFA Street, people are totally into that. I'm personally not, because I put so much time into the core game that I'd love to see them add a little bit more to the core game. Maybe put some time into pro clubs and make that a little bit better than what it used to be. We got an awful lot of good times out of that in 2019, but it wasn't perfect, and I would love for them to just concentrate on that aspect of the game. And then just to finish it off, I don't know whether any of you guys are interested in it, but it was the new Madden game, which is always good fun. I mean, I play with a couple of mates in America. I wouldn't be huge into the sport. I watch the Super Bowl every year, but apart from that, it's you know, it is what it is. And then we had the Sims 4 was showed as well. Any last words on the EA Play there, guys, before we jump on to the big one of the show?
I was horrible. Your EA originals didn't get any like sort of time to display their games, because like I'm super stoked for CSI, and that game was just completely.
Your mic probably needs
over.
to be reconnected, dude, because you're getting serious dropouts.
Right.
It just it's literally just jumping in and out and just dropping you out totally. Jack, any last words on the EA Play?
No, not really. It's EA aren't really one I pay too much attention to, except unless something big comes out of them. So
okay, so let's move on to the Microsoft E3 2019 conference, and this is going to be a little bit mixed. It's not going to be the way the show was done. So let's talk first about, I suppose, the really big one that I didn't know whether they were going to mention, and that is details of the next gen console, codename Project Scarlet, and they're saying that it's 4 times quicker than the Xbox One. It's got a loaded SSD for quick load times and all next gen stuff. People are saying that it's very much in comparison to what PS5 are going to be bringing, and you know, I think to coincide with this, they talked a lot about the xCloud, isn't that right? The new cloud system coming to Xbox, where it's pretty much like Stadia, and you're going to be able to play. I think there was people on the show floor saying that there was an Xbox One controller hooked up to their phone, and they were playing I think Halo 4 or something on it, and they were saying that it worked really well. They didn't notice any lag. But what's your opinions on the new Xbox? Are any of you guys going to be getting it? Jack?
I probably will actually pick one up, because I've had an Xbox One since maybe about a year after it came out. Okay. I haven't used it too much in the past couple of months, but it is still after the whole hiccup of the original Xbox Ones being a media center, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
It did become a good enough console. It did actually have some very good games on it, stuff like Cuphead and everything. So I probably will pick up the new Xbox when it comes out.
Okay. I suppose what I'm going to be picking up late or in the next couple of weeks is the fully digital Xbox One. I think it's like $199. It's super cheap, and that'll do me for the exclusives that I can't play on my PC. Pat, hopefully your mic is okay now. What did you make of the new Project Scarlet?
From what I observed, like a lot like the PS4, not the PS4, the next PlayStation, because they were talking about very similar things such as ray tracing.
No,
the only thing that
you're still dropping out, dude. Sorry. It didn't happen at all before the show.
That's the worst part.
It's like, to be honest with you, dude, it's like the meter, or there's like a cut off point, and if you talk into it too loud, it just cuts you off.
Yeah.
Right. Are you hearing me now? Okay.
Yeah. Try it there now.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, it's a lot similar.
No, it's just totally gone, man.
I'm just gonna, plug it in and out again. Maybe
I think
that
you should bring
work.
that mic back to the pound shop, dude. Give it a reconnect and see what happens then, because there seems to be like a hushling, like a watery sound, that kind of hissing noise or something, and I didn't hear that before the show started, so I'm gonna move it on here anyway. So the next thing,
is that working there now? Is it? Hello?
I'm not getting that background.
No, that's not even more. No, not working. Ugh.
No, you're still dropping now. Okay, so Halo Infinite to launch alongside the Project Scarlet, which is, it's an awesome launch title to come out with the
Hello?
PS5. I was going to say.
Anyone there? No.
Can you hear us? No.
Yeah, we can hear you, dude.
Hello?
He can't
Anyone?
hear us, it seems.
I honestly just think your mic isn't set up, because it doesn't matter how far away you're sitting from the mic in front of you. It just seems to be the same level. Are you sure
His headset
is there a
seems to be
microphone in them headphones of yours?
His headset seems to be down.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
His headset's down now.
I think I got him good.
Can you hear me?
Would you work?
It's just not our night.
Hello? What's wrong?
Are you there? No? Can you hear us at all? No? His headset isn't even working.
That's what I was saying. His headset seems to. Once he did something with his microphone, his headset seems to completely cut out.
I don't even think he doesn't know that we can hear him.
Yes!
Hello?
Is it working, is it?
Well, we can hear you, and we've been able to hear you for the last 10 minutes. Can you hear us, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I thought everything just went there. I couldn't hear ye. I thought my microphone wasn't working. I was getting really angry.
Is there a microphone on that headset, dude?
There is not.
Okay. Tap the mic that's in front of you, will you? Take off the muzzle guard. No, take off that. No, tap it. No, that doesn't sound like it's that. Give it a good tap. Bang the hell out of it.
Give it a good tap, yeah.
Give it a good tap, dude.
No.
That is not the mic that you are set up with, dude. Alright, we're going to move on here because we've got viewers here. So try and get your mic set up. Whatever the name of that mic is needs to be your input.
Is that anything there, is it? Jesus Christ.
It's that, like, I'm not going to lie to you, but that mic in front of you sounds like it should be, or looks like it should be a lot better sounding than what we're hearing.
Yeah, probably should be. And though.
Okay, just give us 2 seconds, guys. Let's just go to I don't know, commercial break. Hello everyone, we are back, and Pat got his microphone working. He was in fact using his laptop microphone. So now it doesn't sound like it's a pound shop microphone. It's actually pretty good quality, isn't it, Pat?
Hopefully.
No, yes, it sounds good. It's doing an awful lot of. It's doing an awful lot better than the last mic. So, guys, let's continue on the show here. So the second thing I want to touch on is Halo Infinite will launch alongside the Project Scarlet. I think that's a fantastic launch title. I don't know, would you guys be able to tell me, did Halo ever launch with an Xbox console previously? Or has it always kind of been a kind of a mid-generation launch? I'm sure one of them has.
Didn't one of them launch the Xbox One?
Was it like Halo 4 or something? See, I'm not a huge Halo fan, so I kind of, you know, I'm excited for Halo fans when it comes to this, but for me, I actually think I'll get more into Halo when the Master Chief Collection is released on PC. I'm going to get, you know, big into it then, I'd say. So let's move on to the big one of the show, a lot of people's favourite. Cyberpunk 2077 launches April next year, so we have a release date, thank the lords. And Keanu Reeves is in it. He also featured on stage, and I mean, talk about an actor that has had his lines learned. He absolutely rocked it. I mean, he's just, you know, he's a master of his art, and I thought it was one of the best reveals of, you know, of any actor on stage at an E3 conference. Jack, I'm going to throw this one to you. What did you make of the Cyberpunk 2077, the trailer, and I suppose we got to see a little bit of the gameplay footage as well?
From what I could see, my mind was just like, oh my god, it is finally happening. It wasn't a case of I'm just hyped for it. Ever since it first got announced, I've been waiting for it. So honestly, the trailer, it didn't really influence my decision much because I was going to buy it anyway. But from what I did see, it is definitely a game I am looking forward to even more now.
Awesome. So, yeah, because I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I loved it from the start. I think because it's CD Projekt Red, The Witcher was just such a mind-blowing game, the third one, and knowing that them guys are doing a game that is in this style, I think it's just going to be absolutely class. I love the fact that they went first person. I know a lot of people took away and were like, oh, I wanted a third person, but you know, I like the fact that they're trying to be creative, they're trying to be different than previous games. They've done third person already. Allow them to go and do a first person game and see what happens. We know it's going to be amazing storyline. There's going to be branches of story that you're going to be able to go, and it just looks gritty as hell. And you know, Keanu Reeves is in it supposedly. Now this is a really kind of down the rumor mill. He's going to be some sort of subconscious entity in your head, like I suppose the way the Joker is in the Arkham Knight. Supposedly that's kind of the route he's going to take, so that would be pretty cool to have him kind of in your head and pop up and maybe give you advice. So I'm excited to see what they do there. Pat, are you excited for Cyberpunk?
I'll say this, I wouldn't mind Keanu Reeves appearing in my subconscious, but
everybody loves that dude.
You could say he's breathtaking.
He is breathtaking.
Oh.
I couldn't believe it. Everyone just gasped when he came on screen. Like, the fact that he was in game and then he was on stage, I think it was just an unbelievable moment. So you're going to get it day one, yeah?
I don't think I'll get it day one.
No?
No. Well, it depends how much money I have, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
there's going to be a lot of money spent next year.
Way too much money spent. But yeah, it's like I would have preferred if they hadn't shown a CGI trailer at this stage. Like, we know the game's been around for so long. There's no really need for a CGI trailer, I think, at this stage. It should have been just maybe purely a gameplay one.
Well, everything else they showed was CGI kind of scripted, so I suppose it'd be breaking the mold a little bit if they just did gameplay, which I would have liked to seen. But I think there was a section of gameplay at the end. Am I wrong? It was kind of like a fast forwarded, you know, a couple of scenes where you seen gunplay and stuff. Was that that was during the live show, right?
That was,
yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
I think that was in-game cutscenes though, or something though, because remember correctly, that was what was setting up the story to where they brought in Keanu Reeves.
No, but wasn't there a bit after Keanu Reeves? I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I remember seeing gameplay. It was like quick. It was like quick gunplay and stuff. I'm sure that was that was played. Maybe it was after the show, but guys, let's move it on because we've got a lot to get through here. So Minecraft is bringing out a new game called Minecraft Dungeons, and I was actually pretty surprised by this. It looks really fun. You got that kind of top-down isometric view, and I like the fact that Microsoft are bringing something different to the Minecraft formula. It's like an RPG adventure game, and I think it's cool, even just to use that art style and to have a couple of the characters, and maybe you can do like a create your own character at the start. And I know my son is going to love it, and I'll probably jump in with my son for that game. Any of you is interested in that one?
If it's going cheap.
Okay. Jack?
Wouldn't be my cup of tea. I like Minecraft normally, but it wouldn't be my cup of tea.
Okay. Ori and the Will of the Wisp, any fans?
Haven't played the first one, so I can't comment.
Okay, so
I like the art style, but I've seen reviews of the first one, and people seem to think it's a pretty good game. So
I played the first game on PC, and I will say it's phenomenal. The music in it is what caught me first, but the gameplay is very unique for that style of kind of side-scrolling platforming game, and towards the end of it, it's just ridiculously skill-based, and I like games like that. I'm interested in this one, and the fact that I was kind of taken away from these games a little bit when I didn't have the PC, but now that I have the PC, a lot of these Xbox games are coming to PC, so I'm definitely going to jump on that one. That's one that I'm really interested in. The Outer Worlds, so that is coming to on October, which is done by the same guys that did Fallout New Vegas, which are, somebody remind me the name of the... Obsidian. They also did the original South Park game, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm interested in seeing what that one is. It looks like a very kind of last gen in terms of graphics, but I think if they can get the same kind of adventure RPG elements as they did in Fallout New Vegas, I think they could have something here. It's kind of like a sci-fi open world, one of those games, Fallout games, and it's sci-fi. Anyone interested?
I haven't checked out the trailer for... So
the art style for it actually looks really interesting, and it seems to have a sense of humor to it from what I've picked up from what the writing has been like. So I could see myself picking it up and playing it.
Okay, I think people are saying fans of New Vegas are really excited to jump into this one because a lot of people will tell you that New Vegas was the best Fallout game there was, and it's funny that it's not, developed by Bethesda. So it'll be interesting to see what way that game comes out. The fact that it'll be taken away from a big franchise like Fallout, and they can do their own thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Game Pass, which is a big one for me. Game Pass is expanding their games, and it's also expanding their games on PC as well. Now I have Game Pass, and for Game Pass Ultimate, which is all the games and a lot of the new games that are coming to the system, at the moment I think it's $14.99. Let me just get that for you. So so it's a $5 a month for just the normal, and then for Ultimate it is $14.99. I think that's what it says here.
Ultimate also has games of gold added in with it, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and Xbox Gold subscription, isn't it?
Yes.
So let me see here. So I'm looking here. It says that you can sign up for Microsoft Store now for Ultimate for just it says here £1 a month, or for just £1 it's usually $10.99 a month. So there's deals going on now, so you can go and pick them up. They were kind of pushing out deals during the press conference. Go and sign up for it now, get you in cheap, and then hopefully you'll pay then when it goes up. The next one is a little bit of a strange one for me. Ninja Theory, one of the big kind of name developers that came on to Microsoft as one of these kind of initiatives to start building new single player IPs, are not building a single player IP. They're building a 4x4 melee action game called Bleeding Edge. That didn't really make sense to me. It looks a little bit like an Overwatch clone. Ninja Theory are known for their compelling single player games, and this just seems like a little bit of a mismatch to me. Why would you get a developer like Ninja Theory to come in and make an online, arena game? But that's just my kind of takeaway from that. Did anyone see the trailer for that one?
From what I saw, I actually really like it. It seems to be something completely different to what they have done, and I always love seeing developers going out and spreading their wings rather than staying in their comfort zones and doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but do you not
from
think
what
we're a
I've
little bit
heard-
kind of oversaturated with, the online kind of buzz? I just thought that this was the reason why Microsoft got in these, is because they actually have a lack of single player epic story games, and I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I just thought that's the way they were going when they started grabbing all these big developers. It looks cool, it looks really stylized, it looks like it could be a little bit of fun, but for me, Overwatch never really grabbed me, and this looks kind of similar to Overwatch with, I suppose, a kind of an Apex art style. Would that be fair to say?
Just on the actual point, before Microsoft actually acquired them, Ninja Theory had 2 games in production. They had Hellblade,
Yes.
and then had this game also going on in the background. So
Okay.
when Microsoft acquired them, this is apparently the game that they're finishing up, while the other team that was working on Hellblade is going on to start the next project for the next system.
Okay, well that makes sense. Maybe I just would have preferred to see that one first rather than this one, but that's fair. So the next one, actually, I was pretty surprised with when the name came up. A new Blair Witch game on the way from Observer Dev. Blooper Team is the name of them. I am not familiar with that team, but I was actually surprised with Blair Witch becoming a licensed game, and it looks pretty good. I actually thought it was an Alan Wake sequel when I first seen it, and then it kind of pans away and it shows you the Blair Witch, which I always found the movie to be quite interesting. Anyone watch the movie or looking forward to this game?
No.
Yeah. So let's keep it going then. Microsoft have bought Tim Schafer's Double Fine, which I thought was a massive piece of news as well. That was one of the announcements for the show, and Tim Schafer actually came on, really cool guy, and announced. Let me see what game they announced. It was Psychonauts 2, and people got to play that, and they were really, really kind of. Had nothing but good things to say about it. I haven't played the first one. I'm not sure if any of you guys have. Psychonauts. Jack, seems like something that you might have dabbled in.
No, actually, but I do. I have watched gameplay playthroughs of it, and it does look like it looks like a decent game, but I don't know about 2. So
okay. Microsoft Flight Simulator, I don't know about you guys, but I played the hell out of Combat Flight Simulator when I was younger. I had a PC, a really old PC, and we had one of the flight joysticks, and we used to play the hell out of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And when I seen this one, I mean, the graphics look absolutely phenomenal. I suppose for a game to show off graphics, this would be really the one to go to, and to show like your mother or your granny, like, look at this, like, we can fly over these amazing cities, and it really looks like top of the range graphics, and I actually thought that showed very well. The next game, I don't know whether you guys are into the series. I kind of dabbled in it in 1 and 2, but Gears of War, I'm not even going to say Gears of War, it's actually called Gears 5. They dropped the of War, so it's called Gears 5, which is a sequel to obviously the Gears of War series, and it's coming out this September, and Terminator is in it as a skin. It was probably for me it was probably the best part of the trailer until it was a skin. But what I want to say about this is, for me, the set was unbelievable. I mean, they had the camera panning down underneath the stage where it was a hive, and then it basically zoomed up to a TV where they were going to show this new game mode called, I think it's called Escape. Quote me on that though. I'll get it for you now. Yes, it's called Escape. And so it zoomed in, and what did we get? We got one of these, again, these kind of scripted scenes of it's actually three characters escaping a hive, and that's kind of a game mode. They didn't show anything to do with campaign. So I suppose visually it looked amazing, but I would just like to see exactly what you're doing in the game. It was playable backstage, so I don't know why they don't just show gameplay of these things if it is playable. Any of you guys into the Gears series?
I love Gears of War.
Nice,
Fucking love Gears of War. And the thing is, though, they did actually have another smaller trailer for Gears 5 of one of the main characters. It was just her just looking at the screen off the screen.
So who is she, dude? Because I only played Gears 1 and 2 and really enjoyed them.
I honestly can't remember. I remember hearing her name and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I do know that she isn't technically fully human in the realms of that game. People are spreading or thinking that she's linked back to the villain from the third game.
Okay.
And the Gears 5 is going to be her kind of struggling with her inner self of, does she side with humans like Marcus and JD, or does she actually side with her other side, which is the Swarm and the Locust and everything?
Yeah, okay.
So I'm quite looking forward to Gears 5. So
I'd love to get back into those games. I think it kind of dwindled a little bit for me. I played 1 and I loved it. 2, I thought it started really slow, but then it got into it, and I kind of liked the new mechanics they brought. But I suppose because I didn't have an Xbox, I didn't really have the ability to play the later ones. But I'm happy for Gears fans. So next on the horizon is Dying Light 2. Now I can talk a little bit about this if you guys haven't played the original.
Oh, first one is amazing.
The first one is class.
First PS4 game I played.
Was it the first PS4? Wow.
That was actually the game I got with my PS4. I actually pre-ordered my PS4 for Dying Light.
Yeah, so Dying Light has it's kind of like a really staple for bringing out a game where not a lot of games are coming out. I believe it released in March, and I just remember there was absolutely nothing around that release, and people gave it a go and really enjoyed it. It had a kind of a mechanic of Mirror's Edge where you were free running. I thought they got their free running down to a T, so I'm interested to see what they bring to the second one. The trailer looked like it was a little bit, no, this is probably the wrong thing to say, but it looked a little bit more grittier than the first one, and I think that was down to the main character. The main character felt like he was just, I suppose, more suited to that world. I felt like the character in the first one was a little bit like the Far Cry characters, college dropouts thrown into a world where they have to become a warrior type of thing. But with Dying Light 2, I think they got the character, from what I've seen, they got the character to a T. Now I know it's obviously the world has been in this shape for a lot longer than the original game, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. The fact that the day and night mechanic they have down so well. I mean, you go out on a run in the first one and you get sidetracked and you go after another piece of loot, and next minute it's like starting to get dark and you're like, oh crap, and literally you go from running these rooftops to really kind of sneaking around and crawling back to your shelter. And I think that's what gives this game something that it doesn't really happen in any other zombie game. So I think, like, with the actual oversaturation of zombie games, I think this one does something a little bit different, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Jack, you want to jump in there?
I'm actually really looking forward to Dying Light 2, more so for the fact that you have control of how the entire city turns out. They revealed an image before E3 of the city if you actually take care of it, and if the city if you don't. It depends on the choice. It's got choices to make depending on which way you want to go.
Yeah.
So if you make choices, the city is shown is to flourish, and if you don't, it shows it in ruins. And it's just, the idea of it is amazing to me, because again, I love the first Dying Light. As you said, the main character was kind of two-dimensional.
Yeah.
It was just a case of, I'm doing this to survive. I'm not doing it for you guys. I'm doing this because I got bitten and I need to survive. So
definitely,
with the fact that you're looking after the entire city with this character, it could be very good.
Awesome. So the next game, guys, is one that I'm not looking forward to at all. It's the new one from Software. It's called Elden Ring. We got a little bit of a teaser trailer. The world was built by Miyazaki and helped obviously by J.R.R. Martin, and I'm like, I say this every time a Dark Souls-esque game comes, but I'm looking forward to this just because I have actually no idea what this game is gonna appear like, what it's gonna look like, what the art style is gonna be like. You can take guesses, I suppose. Is it going to be similar to Dark Souls? Because I think they're going down that kind of fantasy well, I'm not even going to say dark fantasy. I think it's going to be more on the lines of medieval fantasy, a little bit more grounded than the likes of Dark Souls. But the trailer was weird as always. I mean, it didn't look like it was going to be grounded going by the trailer, but I'd like to see more of that game before I give my full opinion on it. But I'm really excited just for the pedigree of who's working on it. Jack, you're probably going to jump into this one as well, are you?
Oh, definitely. But as you were saying, it doesn't look grounded. I agree, but at the same time, it looks more grounded than what the Dark Souls games did. It looks more like it's going for the medieval style, as you said.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, Dark Souls did have that kind of medieval-esque style, but they were more on the fantasy kind of side of it, whereas this could be more on the medieval side of it.
Yeah, so there's rumors that it's going to be open world, and there's, you're riding on horseback, so that kind of tells me it's going to be a little bit different. And if you played Sekiro is a little bit open. It's still very kind of tunneled in the sense that it's not really open world, so you can nearly see them just expanding and making an open world game. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like out of the realm of things they can do, especially after Sekiro. Before Sekiro, I would have said maybe it won't work, but I think after Sekiro proved to me that they can really do anything they throw their hat at. So guys, let me see, is that the end? Oh yeah, so just a quick one. So Phantasy Star Online is coming to the West. That doesn't really interest me at all. I'm not sure if it interests you guys. I think it's like a free to play online MMO. Any takers on that? No?
I'm not particularly excited for myself, but I've seen a lot of people very excited for it because like this is like a big deal for Phantasy Star. I think like the last time one was over was like Dreamcast.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the first one for the Dreamcast, if I remember. No, sorry, it was the Xbox 360. They re-released Phantasy Star Online 1 for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So that was the last time, and that was God knows how long ago at this stage.
And then just to wrap up the Microsoft show, we got the redesign of the Xbox Elite wireless controller. I'm going to put my hands up. That thing looks awesome, and if I had the money, I'd buy it in the morning just to use with my PC. Very customizable. You can replace the sticks on it. You can adjust the strength of the analogs. It looks really, really cool. And how much is that thing going for? It's a ridiculous price, isn't it?
£170 or £160 straight from Microsoft.
That's exactly what it is, Jack. So guys, before we move on to the next part of our show, which is going to be the Bethesda show, we're going to run our sponsored ad here, so just bear with us and we'll be back in a jiffy. Hey guys, the Alpha Fox here, and I just want to bring you a quick message from our sponsor. Our mission at Kaiju Gaming Lounge is to bring the social aspect back to video games in Cork City. There is a tendency with online video games for people to spend a lot of time alone while playing games with their friends over the internet, which may become isolating at times. We want to offer an alternative to spending time alone or in a pub, and instead engage in some friendly competition with existing friends or meet new ones in the process. Kaiju Gaming Lounge is the #1 sponsor for TROP-CAST, the #1 gaming podcast in Ireland, and the official podcast of the Republic of Players. And that was a word from our sponsor. Well, it was a word from me for our sponsor, Kaiju Gaming Lounge in Cork. An awesome place where you can go and play video games. And what I love about it is you can, it's PC gaming, it's console gaming. It's just an awesome place to be. Set up a tournament in there with your buddies, go down on your own, make friends, and just have a good time. I think there should be more of these in Ireland. And hopefully Kaiju expands and comes to more places. I'd love to see one here in the Midlands. So a big shout out to Kaiju Gaming Lounge, our sponsor for TROP-CAST. So, guys, we're going to go on to the Bethesda E3 conference, and we'll start it off with a mobile game called Elder Scrolls Blades. Never played this game. I mean, I suppose if you look at mobile games that really hit it off, Fallout Shelter you have to kind of look at as being one of the successful ones that came to mobile. And Elder Scrolls Blades, I personally never played this game. Is this it's not a card game, is it? It's coming to Switch anyway, was the kind of big news here, but I've never played Elder Scrolls Blades.
It sort of looks like a dulled down Skyrim experience, like a very, very dulled down. From what I've seen, it's very heavy on the microtransactions, so I'm not sure how they'll transmit that to the Switch, if there'll be less or not, but...
Okay, so you're telling me it's like an RPG, is it?
I'm
looking at it here, like, I mean, the trailers look like it could well be, it looks a little bit like Skyrim. Obviously, it's dickied up a little bit here in the images, but I was actually thinking this was some sort of card game, or one of those generic mobile games that you see so much of.
I've seen a lot of people say it's a cash grab. In all honesty,
okay,
that's what I've seen around. But it looks like a very cheap man's Infinity Blade, if you ever remember that game that was made by Epic Games way back for the iPod and all that.
Okay, so we've actually 2 mobile games announced right at the start, so really kind of blowing it out of the water, Bethesda. So we have Commander Keen game for iOS and Android, and it is a free-to-play game from ZeniMax Online Studios, and they are the makers of Elder Scrolls Online. So free-to-play, does that mean again you're going to be hit with the microtransactions more than likely when it comes to a mobile game like that? But I have no idea what Commander Keen is. Looks like a cartoon that's on Nickelodeon. Would I be right saying that?
Probably.
No idea. Okay, let's move it on then, guys. So what do we have here? We have Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot. Any fans of the Wolfenstein series? No,
I haven't played many Wolfensteins, but the ones that I have played, like I think the last one I played was on the PS3, and I seriously enjoyed it. Really fun game to play.
Okay, so I played the first.
Showed off.
Yeah, did you watch the trailer? Did you?
Oh yeah, I watched them all. Yeah, regret watching them all. But yeah, it was pretty good. Like the co-op for Youngblood looks brilliant, and sure they have the VR section as well, which like it's nice to see VR get stuff. And oh Jesus, look at my connection.
And then we had the big apology for Fallout 76. So we're getting more game modes than that. They're getting a battle royale. They're getting more NPCs, dialogue trees, all that kind of stuff. For me, it's a little bit too late. I think that game is just about dead and buried. Maybe the people that were stuck into it at the start might jump back in, but I had about 4 friends that really put a lot of time into that, and they said they're never going back no matter what happens. So yeah, so maybe it's just better to kind of leave that in the background. I was expecting a little bit more from Bethesda, in particular their new IPs. I would have liked to seen something to do with Starfield, and possibly even just a teaser of the new Elder Scrolls game, but that wasn't to happen. But what did happen is we got to see Doom Eternal, and that game looks sick beyond belief. Anyone that played the kind of newer Doom games will know that those games there's something about them that just allows you to just release your endorphins and just go crazy. Just that quick pace, blow demons' heads off. It's amazing, and especially the music as well. Anyone play the Doom games, the new ones?
No, actually, I've been told to, but I just haven't gotten around to actually giving them a proper try. So maybe before Eternal comes out, I'll see if I can pick it up for cheap and give it a go.
Definitely jump onto that, dude. It's a phenomenal game, phenomenal series. The fact that they can, bring back a series that is so iconic and to do it justice, and I personally think they have. So good on them. Let me see here. So what else do we have? So that was really it from Bethesda. Like really kind of lackluster, if you ask me.
Actually, could I just? I'm not sure because my internet's cutting out every now and again. But did
Yeah.
we talk about Ghostwire Tokyo?
No,
Yes.
actually,
You need to talk about
tell us about Ghostwire Tokyo, which is the studio from Evil Within, unveils the paranormal action adventure Ghostwire Tokyo. So take it away, Pat.
Well, like many games that were shown off during E3, it was a CGI trailer, but it left me very intrigued with what it was trying to do. It basically showing that like people are disappearing and these sort of like mystical people and creatures are coming out, and like you're one of the few left surviving, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. So
Okay.
it has me hooked. I just want to see what you do in it now, and then it might have me like set on getting it. But apart from that, it's just a very intriguing trailer.
Okay, awesome.
I'm in the same boat as Pat there, actually.
Nice. So looking forward to that one, yeah?
Yeah.
Did we get a release date for that one, no?
I think they were. No, I don't think we did.
No
No, there
release
was
date.
nothing revealed about it. It was just a trailer.
Okay. So that was to round up the Bethesda conference. So we'll move on quickly to Ubisoft, which looking at it here had a pretty strong showing. So it started with Watch Dogs Legion. I don't know whether any of you has played the first two. I will put my hands up. I haven't touched the Watch Dogs game. I've wanted to, and they're so cheap now that you can pick up the second one for like I think less than 20 quid. But just haven't, I suppose, got around to playing those games. Have any got a chance to play it, Pat?
I played the first one, and I was
Underwhelmed?
underwhelmed by it because the way they had advertised it, it was like you can hack everything and do all this and that, and the graphic scandal that came with it.
Yeah.
I skipped Watch Dogs 2 because I didn't see anything too drastic of a change that would drag me in.
Okay.
But after seeing the gameplay that they showed, like I was blown away. The scope that they're trying to achieve by like having you can pick any character in this world and then join them, let them join your group and then play as them. And they all have their
Oh,
stories.
wow.
They're all voice acted. They're all different models.
Nice.
And it's incredible. You can play as a granny, you can play as a FBI agent, a British spy, a normal like hacker. Like you can just get loads of different things there. And if
Yeah.
they can pull it off, it's gonna be a phenomenal game.
Yeah, so we seen gameplay of that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think like 15 to 20 minutes.
Really pushed it out. It was the only bit I know. No, but yeah, it's definitely one that to keep an eye on. You could see that game becoming the game it was meant to be in a couple of times. Like maybe this is the one. Maybe this is what it was meant to be when Watch Dogs 1 was released. So it's good that they really back that franchise, and I always looked at that as a modern day Assassin's Creed. If they were to blend them two together in an Assassin's Creed meets Watch Dogs, I think that would work well, just for an interesting point of view, I suppose, from the two series. Like have it in the same universe, but have a little Easter egg or something, just to kind of a little nod to each of them. So the next one is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine, which is a new game mode. It's another zombie game mode, guys, but this one, the fact that it's in the Rainbow Six game, Rainbow Six it's probably will be known as one of the best first person shooters of our time. Really took the world by storm. People still play it today. I have it on my system, and I suppose because you need that full squad with you, I never got a chance to jump in. I played it for a little time and really, really loved it, but I just never, I suppose, put in the amount of time as some people do. Any of you's interested in this one? Rainbow Six Quarantine?
See me, because I've got Rainbow Six Siege and I did enjoy it, but I didn't play much of it online because the community online was fairly toxic. But Quarantine looks like it could be good, so
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
And then the next one is it's down my alley. It's the new Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and we had John Burntnall come out and do a little bit of a speech. Granted, John is an awesome guy, but I think Keanu Reeves stole the show in terms of actors being on stage, so it actually felt a little bit underwhelming when he was up there. But he explained that he is the bad guy in the game, and he and his kind of his ghosts are hunting you down. Now, I actually got into the not the beta, the technical, or what's it called, the thing that was released like 2 weeks ago. It was like a kind of an alpha that we got accepted into. I'm not really allowed to talk about the experience that I had. You had to sign a load of papers, but I will say that I'm really, really looking forward to that game. I'm a huge Ghost Recon Wildlands fan. It's a little bit different than Wildlands. I wouldn't, be someone that's going in from Wildlands expecting it to be just a straight up sequel to that game. It's a little bit different. There's so many different mechanics added. You have like survival elements now. I mean, just to kind of give you a little bit of a starting point, you come in to the area and your helicopter gets shot down and you're basically trying to survive, and there's survival elements in a little bit like Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, a little bit along the lines of that. Think of, Rambo when he's in the jungle trying to survive, and you can do like some of these awesome camouflage moves where you're on the grass, you can cover yourself with mud to make yourself a little bit more invisible, and I think that game is going to be brilliant, but time will tell. The only thing that I didn't like about it was it seemed like they brought in that Division aspect where enemies are leveled, these kind of, don't attack this guy because he's level whatever 50. I seen a little bit of that and I was a little bit turned off, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
Sponges.
I'm totally against that. It's one of the reasons why I don't play the Division. That I just prefer the kind of more realistic sim-like approach. But if you're into that, if you're into the Division 2, well, seems like there's elements being crossed over into it. Anyone looking forward to Breakpoint, or am I on my own with that one?
Well, not now that you mentioned it, sort of like Division 2.
Well, see, this is the thing. That's what I seen. Do you know what I mean? I didn't actually, I won't lie to you, I didn't even try to attack these people. I just seen these are leveled enemies. Don't attack them or you will be. Now that might be they're better tactically, which I would like. They're really badass. They're going to come round and flank you from all sides. They're just going to be higher intelligence. That's what I would love, but just be a little bit wary, I suppose. So the next game, guys, is so Assassin's Creed Odyssey gets a mission creator mode, and that was released on the day of the conference. So this is kind of, you can create a mission, you can upload it and people can play out your missions. Really interesting, actually. I like the kind of stuff. I'd never do it myself, but to jump on and play somebody else's mission that they've worked hard, I think that's really interesting. The next bit of news is Always Sunny in Philadelphia reveals a game dev TV comedy. Mythic Quest is the name, so I'm sure it's going to be, it's going to have the same humor. Anyone interested in that one? Any watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I like Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it's funny, but it depends how they tackle it. Like the way he was going on about it, he said they're going to be very faithful to how games are developed, and if that's the case, then I probably will go in and watch it. If anything, if it's not, I'll still probably get a few laughs out of it. But it's not something I particularly want to see at E3, but
So the next one this one's for you, Pat. It's Ubisoft outlines Division 2's next 3 episodes, and just to let everyone know, Pat is doing the review on those next 3 episodes. I'm only messing with you, Pat. That'll be hilarious. He's not saying too much.
Don't want to say more about that game. I don't want to go near it ever again.
Yeah, the review is up on the YouTube. Head over and look at Pat's review of The Division 2, and you can hear in his voice that his soul is a little bit broken with the amount of hours that he put into that thing, but fair play to you, dude. And the last one is a new IP coming from Ubisoft called Gods and Monsters. Now, this is interesting. I do want to see a little bit more of it, but I like the fact that they release something that looks, totally different than what they're doing. Is this the one that looks a little bit like Zelda? Was this the kind of one that I seen? I was like, oh, this looks like a bit of a Zelda clone. Am I right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's going to be like a bit more of an absurd, extremely absurd Assassin's Creed. Like it will be a bit more over the top compared to it.
Oh,
And I
okay.
actually want to see that. Because like just with the art style and everything, it looks like they could just go like a mad version of Assassin's Creed, and I would like to see them just go balls to the wall with it.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks interesting. I kind of like the art style in it. It just looked very different. It looked, I suppose, more in line with their indie titles, or their kind of their lower what do you want to call them? Yeah, I suppose indie style titles like Child of Light. It kind of looked like it was taking on a little bit of a different art style. And then to finish up, we had Roller Champions, which is kind of Ubisoft's take on Rocket League, and it looks exactly like that. It looks like they're trying to just, get into that space, the Rocket League space. It's going to be very hard to take over Rocket League. Rocket League is still to this day an amazing, fun game. And I actually want to play more of Rocket League by just looking at Roller Champions. So I hope Roller Champions can come out, even if it's a free to play with maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to say microtransactions, but even if it was like, I don't know what way you could drop it. Maybe drop it for 20 quid new and get people on and try and build it as an esport and see what happens. The gameplay, it didn't look like proper gameplay. It looked like the way Borderlands was previewed, where you had like different this is what I don't like. I don't like when you see a game like Borderlands, but it shows you like the character in front like running at the camera type of thing. I think it just gives a weird kind of element of what you're meant to be doing in that game. And that was the same with Roller Champions. It didn't show you, like you could guess that you're going to be behind the player and playing it that way, but we'll see what happens anyway. Any of you interested in Roller Champions, Jack?
Not really, no. I
Pat?
wasn't.
Like it looks fun. I give it that. Like it does look like a lot of fun, but I don't know if it's like if it is free, I might touch it though. It's not something that I'd go out of my way to specifically buy.
Okay. And okay, so that was Ubisoft's conference. We're going to move on to Square Enix, which had a pretty good show if you ask me. I thought I liked the atmosphere in the hall that they had. It was very kind of intimate or something, and I think it worked really well. And I liked, some of the presentations were pretty good. So they opened with, and I'm very happy that they did. They opened with the Final Fantasy remake, and it does look absolutely ridiculous. What I liked about this is after seeing so many scripted CGI trailers beforehand, this was basically a developer out talking about the gameplay, what you're going to be doing in the game. And that's what I thought was missing a lot through this conference was, what are you going to be doing in this game? What is your role as a gamer? And it showed you, different styles of combat. I think they got the combat down to a T. I like the fact that you can switch it up, you can play real time, or you can pause it and you can think about what you're going to be doing. That to me is modern day Final Fantasy, and I think to have it in the world of Final Fantasy VII that looks absolutely gorgeous, I think that game is going to be great if they get it sorted. And that's, I suppose, the negative I took away from it is the messaging has been, and for lack of a better word, absolute arse when it comes to that game. Nobody knows whether it's going to be episodic, when is it going to be finished. I think we got a release date for the first part, and this is what I don't really like about the game. They're talking about it as in they're separate games. Am I getting something wrong here, or am I just maybe taking it up a little bit wrong? So they're releasing the first, I think, CD in March 2020, which is going to be Midgar, and as far as I could tell, they're calling this a game, one part of the game. Somebody help me out here, because the messaging for me, the gameplay, fantastic, but the messaging just totally out there and confusing.
Right, so from what I've gathered from it, is still episodic. Though
Okay.
they have no idea how many episodes there are going to be. and they have no idea they have nothing planned out really. Like they're only starting the second episode now, but they have no idea where that's going to end, and apparently don't know how like many episodes altogether. It seems like a complete mess there. But apparently Midgard is supposed to be like super expanded compared to the original, because like I think you only spend maybe like 5 or 6 hours there to begin with.
Yeah,
if I
it's like the
remember correctly.
intros place, isn't it? That's what kind of got
Yeah,
me a
so-
little bit confused as well.
So I think they were saying, I read a few things that it's going to be expanded upon greatly, so that like it's filling in a lot more than just like you're buying a 5-hour game of a RPG. I say it would be maybe 30 maybe hours. If I'm having a guess, that's what I would say. Like, because I'm not sure how much you can expand upon a 5-hour story beginning.
Yeah. They'd need to at least get it to 30 hours just to keep people going, get people interested in getting the rest of it. Because if they leave it shorter for the first disc, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people, and then the remake will go nowhere.
I don't know, guys. Like looking at the gameplay and looking at what they've done and the graphics, I think amazing. But I am still very, very worried about this game. It says here Square Enix confirmed Final Fantasy VII Remake comes on 2 Blu-ray discs. But what comes on the 2 Blu-ray discs? Is it Midgar is coming on the 2 Blu-ray discs? Is this the whole game, as in all the episodes? It's like the messaging is really, really, really bad for this game. The fact that they've been working on it for so long and they still don't have a roadmap to where this is going, I am super, super worried. It says, reiterate its episodic nature. The first episode focuses on Midgar. The company said Final Fantasy Remake will launch in March 2020. And that's about it for that story. Like, I don't know. Maybe a couple of people in the comments want to jump in and so let me see. Can I just... So Too Old for Gaming says I think it's confirmed to be episodic. Yeah, that's the problem here, John. Is kind of we're looking at it and thinking, what is going on. They said episode 1 was so big it is a game in its own right. So that little bit of messaging there, I think, is a bit crazy as well. It kind of are they kind of looking at Midgar as an actual game, or is it going to be released like, okay, here's a box, it's a physical copy, Midgar. The next one is going to come out and it's going to be like, what do you do after that? Do you go open world?
This is the strange question now. Like, if it's a full game, then why not just make like a full remake of the original Fantasy VII with its story beats? Why do you have to expand so much upon like the first 6 hours so that like it's a full apparent game?
I don't know, guys.
It's a mess.
So people are worried, okay, will they mess up the original? Like, already they've changed it so much that it mightn't even be the original game anymore. Now in terms of, like, you can look at remasters that did it right. Resident Evil did it right. Resident Evil 2 did it right because they changed up little segments that made it feel like it was new, but it still had the same major beats. With this, if you're making a full game in Midgar, like okay, so it's a JRPG, for lack of a better word or term, and you're going to have it in Midgar for 30 hours. So what happens in Midgar for that 30 hours? And then, the other story beats that happen in CD, 2, 3... Is there 3 CDs in Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Like, what... Are they just kind of going to rush through them and spend all this... I don't know. I'm very worried about this game. I said it from the start. Seamus is he's a big... He's a big advocate of getting this game out, but I am still worried that we will ever see the light of day of this game. I think there's going to be delay after delay. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. It's a little bit weird. I think it covers it, the fact that they showed this amazing gameplay, but there's something going on in the background that is just, it's not right. Something is just not right. Like literally for that gameplay, all they have to use is the Final Fantasy 15 engine, which I believe they are, isn't that right?
They
You
are,
see,
yeah.
this is the thing though. Like when you look at the original footage they had for Final Fantasy VII before, like they re-released it here recently.
Yeah.
Like the game looks completely different now. So I feel now that they have it sort of sorted what way they're going to develop the game and the future installments. They have like it set what they're doing so that it possibly won't be as long. I think they've gone through a lot of the troubles and have sorted them out from this long
Yeah,
delay they've had.
that's a positive way of looking at it.
One thing I
I'm
want-
still a little bit worried. I thought actually by seeing this I would be, oh, you know, we have the release date. This looks awesome, but then the messaging came out and you're just like, do you guys even know what the hell you're talking about? Because I'm confused as hell. So 2 Over Gamer says the 3 discs. Midgar is basically only a third of the first disc on PS1. Third. Wow. So guys, I don't know, any last words on that? We'll have to move on because we're kind of pushing
One
over
thing
the
I'm
limit.
going to say is a lot of people are going to be buying the collector's edition, which comes with cloud on the bike and everything. That's 260 quid, 270 quid.
They don't have a game.
What?
Like, I don't know why they're advertising this stuff. They don't have a game yet. Like, why are they kind
That's
of...
what I'm saying. But what I'm
Plugging
Isn't
going
a
to
it
say,
like over 300? I
Sorry?
saw that collector's edition going for over 300 quid.
is it over 300? No, sorry, you're right. It
Yeah.
was $320, not 260 quid. But
People
a lot
are
of people
pre-ordering
buy-
that, like,
yeah, but that's
not
what I'm
even a
saying.
game yet.
Are these people, are they going to release collector's editions for each and every episode, or is it going to be a case of they release the one disc and all the rest of the episodes are going to be download only?
I
You
have
know?
no idea, dude. I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think the developers know what's going on. I don't think it's going to be released March next year anyway. I think we're going to be looking at a couple of delays and possibly pushed on to the PS5 console. I can't see this with the lack of messaging and roadmap that they have going on. I can't see this happening. Like, I'm sorry. I think my pizza is pretty safe now at the moment, to be honest. After seeing this, but we'll see what happens. We're gonna have to move on pretty quickly, guys. The Last Remnant remastered is coming to Switch. I never played that one. Any of you has played The Last Remnant? Is that a JRPG as well?
It's a JRPG with a twist, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked too much into it, so I don't know a huge amount about it.
Okay. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is coming to smartphones. I'm just going to run through these really quick, guys. A lot of these are just kind of small talk. Circuit Superstars is a wonderful dinky motorsport game from Square Enix that was showed. Bulletstorm developer unveil a new co-op shooter, Outriders. I think that was pretty interesting. That was kind of... yeah, I kind of like the art style for that.
CGI trailer.
CGI, okay. And here's a bit of news that I actually am really pumped for, and that's Final Fantasy VIII is finally being remastered for new platforms. I love Final Fantasy VIII. I think it's, you know, it was probably the one that I played the most when I was younger. That and 9, and I think, let me see, it's just a port, isn't it? We're getting, it's not going to be anything too...
It's just a port, a bit like Final Fantasy 7 and 9.
Yeah, so we're put there. And what was it? 7 was ported, and then 9 and 8 was missed. Was that what happened there? Okay. And then to finish up, guys, on the Square Enix side of things, we had the reveal of Marvel Avengers, and I've got a thing or two to say about this. But Pat, what was your opinion on the Marvel Avengers reveal?
Well, it's glad to finally see it. That's probably my first thing that I should probably say about it. But apart from that, like, there's gameplay there. They have it backstage. Yeah,
Yeah.
they would not show it. And from what I've heard about the gameplay, it's supposedly really good. Like, I've heard people comparing it to Spider-Man already in action-wise, and if that's the case, then it has my interest. But yeah, like, I see a lot of people complaining that they don't have the likeness of the actual movie characters. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this isn't a movie. Why should they look like the movie characters?
Yeah,
So,
no, I can kind of understand that as well. I don't want them to look like the movie characters, but I would prefer if they didn't look like they were meant to be for a mobile game either. I think the art style, the way they're done, is a little bit, I don't know, plain or something. I just didn't really like the art style of the characters. In terms of the graphics and the way they kind of move through the world, I thought, pretty good, but there's just something feels a little bit off. Now maybe that's because it is pretty early in development. I'm sure that the textures are going to be improved today, and they actually got to jump into what you were saying there, that kind of gameplay. But all it was footage of gameplay. They weren't actually able to play. So they sat down and somebody pressed play on whatever it was, a DVD player, if they still have those things, and it played a segment of the game, and it said it showed Thor, swinging his hammer, doing his thing. There was 2 abilities that you could use, and then there was an ultimate ability. So you're kind of going down the road of that, and then it switched to Iron Man. He was flying around. He was attacking from above, then he landed down and the gameplay elements changed. And they said the one thing that they will say was each character seemed like it was totally different than the last. So if they get the gameplay right, I think my biggest problem here is Spider-Man was absolutely phenomenal, and I want to see more of Marvel games done in the Spider-Man sense, as in, I think Iron Man who did Spider-Man?
Insomniac.
Let Insomniac do Iron Man. Now I know there's the whole Sony malarkey that Sony kind of have the rights to Spider-Man, but I think after seeing that Spider-Man game, I would have liked even have the first Spider-Man go into a more kind of Marvel role and have the same graphics. I think they would have done a great job. But look, I think what they're going to have here is they're going to have a game where people can jump on. They can be someone's phone is going crazy.
That is my phone. I'm just going to turn it down now.
So yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown, I suppose, in terms of what we've seen. But
just on that there, I remember on stage they were talking about there was going to be a special surprise for PlayStation owners. So could that mean that they're going to connect Spider-Man into it somehow?
Well, there is they have a deal with Sony. That was kind of known that game at Square Enix actually have a kind of a Sony deal. An exclusive deal where there's, like you said, it could definitely be Spider-Man jumping in as a playable character. So that will be interesting to see what Sony bring to their next show. So yeah, that was kind of the end of the Square Enix, which I thought was relatively good in apart from the messaging that came with Final Fantasy VII. But I'd like to kind of to have a little bit of faith in that, but just nothing that I seen gives me faith that that's going to be coming anytime soon. And then we finished with Nintendo, and we're just going to run through Nintendo real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Again, thanks to everyone that's stuck with us through the show. It was a little bit of off the cusp, and we had a few technical difficulties earlier on, but we got through them. The show must go on, and we're coming to the end of it. So thank you just to everyone that stood by us and there with us throughout the show. So Dragon Quest Echoes of an Elusive Age has a Switch release date. Dragon Quest, any players of Dragon Quest? Not one that I ever jumped into. Pat?
I have not touched one, but it seems that Jack has.
Sorry, Jack has jumped on. Yeah, Jack.
I've played Builders a small bit, but I actually picked up 11 there not too long ago because it does look very good.
Okay, you just haven't played it yet, is it?
I haven't got around to it yet, no.
Okay, what was that on? Was that on Switch? Okay, PS4, nice. So we have Luigi's Mansion 3 is set in a spooky hotel. I heard a lot of people actually excited about this one. Anyone excited for Luigi's Mansion, Jack?
I've played it again. I've played a very small bit of the first one on the GameCube. I can't comment too much on it.
Yeah.
So it could be good. I don't know.
So let me name out the next 4 things and then grab whatever tickles your fancy. So Netflix and Jim Henson Dark Crystal Tactics game headed for Nintendo Switch. Zelda Link's Awakening on Nintendo Switch has an intriguing new customizable dungeon. The Mana Collection confirmed for Europe. The Mana Collection, that's a JRPG, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
Trials
think,
of Mana, Secret of Mana, and Children of Mana, isn't it?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
bringing over all the ones that weren't actually released here, but like were just released in Japan and all that.
Yeah, so I think people
So they're
love them
bringing it
games,
all
don't they? The next one, everybody knows this one. The Witcher 3 is coming to Nintendo Switch, and I think that it really shows that Nintendo Switch is just a class system. That yes, they have their own first party stuff, but they bring in like such amazing games, like The Witcher, like Doom, and hopefully it's able to run really well. I have heard that the textures are a little bit dropped. I don't care about that. It's obvious that they're going to have to drop it a little bit back. The thing struggled to play on a PS4, for God's sake. So to play it on a little handheld, I think you'll get away with it. And I think you'll kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. No More Heroes 3 announced for Nintendo Switch. Not a game that I've played. Any of you guys played that one?
I've seen gameplay from the previous ones, and they look bonkers, but insanely fun. So like a lot of the games that were shown at Nintendo's little conference has made me want to buy a Switch so much more.
Oh,
But at the same time, I don't want to spend 330 quid.
I know, like, and you can kind of say that the price point is a little bit high, but I mean the games that you're getting, I can justify the price point to some extent with what you get on that thing. Like the exclusives that you get are literally system sellers, and we'll talk a little bit more about a couple of the exclusives that are coming. But next is friend of the show John Romero. His new project was demoed over at E3. It's a 1920s Chicago, it's set in Chicago, and it's called Empire of Sin, and it's an old school gangster game. You can pick the likes of Al Capone and you can build an empire, and the gameplay is meant to be, there's kind of two sides to the gameplay. One is like a Civ style gameplay where you're taking over territories, and then when you get into battle, it's very much like XCOM. It's meant to be very tactical, and the world is meant to be very dynamic. So I'm actually looking forward to checking that one out from John. Hopefully we can grab a review copy off him for that one and check it out. Yeah, I think that one could be an interesting one. I hope all the best for that game, because anyone that has had a look at that over at E3 that I was listening to said it's very interesting, something really different. And we've had games like this in the past, but I think there's a little bit of a space there for one right now. So it'd be interesting to see how that one turns out. Animal Crossing
Nice to see something from Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he actually talked about Romero Games when he was doing an interview that I seen, and just saying that he was in Galway in Ireland and he's working his ass off there. So fair play to him to try and really kind of put Ireland on the map in terms of games development, and he's teaching games development here in Ireland as well. So he's really spreading his knowledge through. And through kind of the Irish scene, and we were lucky to have him on the show. One of the best moments of my kind of experience in the gaming industry was to be able to sit down with him and have a one-on-one chat. Jack, you were there as well. It was really something else. It was just like sitting down with a friend talking about video games. And for a guy that you kind of look on YouTube and you see him developing the first big FPS shooter of all time, people still play Doom to this day. He's an avid Doom player, and it's really amazing that he's here in Ireland and we're so connected with him. And so a big shout out to John Romero and his new project with, I think is it Paradox he's doing that game with. Doesn't say here, but I think it's Paradox Games, and that's coming.
That might be the game he was working on when he had him on the podcast, because he said there was a game he was working on.
Yes, he said he was working on something, but he couldn't say.
So this could have been it.
So yeah, good one actually. Nice catch there, Jack. So we'll move it on, guys. So Animal Crossing, I've never played Animal Crossing, but people seem to love that game. I seen even some people were saying they're buying a Switch for that game alone, and I think it's like is it like, I don't know, you look after pets or something? Jack, you might be able to fill me in on exactly what you do.
Basically, you move into a village, and in one of the previous ones anyway, you move into a village, you get given a house, but the bank manager and mayor, he was everything basically. Kind of does it in such a way that you have to pay him back some serious amount of money by cleaning up the entire town. A lot of people like it, and a lot of people are going mad for it,
Yeah.
and they're just delighted. Like, it's strange to say, but a lot of people are actually happy for the delays for it because they want it to be perfect. So it could be
Yeah.
good. I know a lot of people who are looking forward to it are just can't wait for it, but they know that the delays are there for a reason.
Yeah, no, I'm happy now for people because people seem to really dig that game. So that's awesome. So just a couple of releases again that are coming to the Switch. One of my favorite games of all time. It's a part of my favorite, movie franchise of all time. Nintendo Switch is getting Alien Isolation, and to have Alien Isolation on a handheld, I don't know whether it'll have the same effect, but throw that thing into a dock, play Alien Isolation, and get the absolute crap scared out of you. It's one of the best games, on the best single player games, survival horror in the Alien universe. I personally love it. It's one of my all time favorites, and very, very underrated, and gutted that we're not getting a sequel. And then we just have, okay, so the big one right at the end is and I personally, I didn't see this coming, but Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel, and if anyone played Breath of the Wild, you'd know that it's one of the most charming, amazing, just the way the game is developed, the design, the art style, it blew my mind. Myself and my son played through a lot of it. It just does everything so well, and I think it's the epiphany of what Nintendo are as developers. It just, to have a sequel to come out of that game, it makes me want to play Breath of the Wild again just so I'm caught up for that new one. And I think that's why Zelda is such an appealing game, that it really does have that effect. Ever since, Ocarina of Time, you can go and play that game today and it still really holds up, and you can see elements that have been brought from back then and they're still used today, like day night cycle. You had first person view where you could switch from third person to first person, and I think Breath of the Wild captures all that magic of Ocarina of Time and just boosts it by about 100, and I am in love with Breath of the Wild. So to get a sequel to it is amazing news. Did anyone else see this coming, guys?
Nope.
This was a mind blower, wasn't it? Have you played Breath of the Wild?
Oh, I have. I finished it, and the game was a masterpiece from start to finish.
Yeah, I totally agree, dude. I didn't finish that. That's what I'm saying. I want to go back and finish that. I got a lend of a Switch off one of my mates, and docked, not docked. I think it's just a great game to pick up, do a quest on your handheld, come home, put it into the dock, chill out, play a little bit of play a bit of the main quest then when you have it on the big screen. Just an amazing game.
I will say that Nintendo have come out and after the E3 conference and said that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be slightly darker than Ocarina of Time. And everyone knows that Ocarina of Time is considered one of the darkest of the Zelda games, so it should be interesting to see what they do with that then, if they're saying it's going to be darker than that.
Awesome. So if you have any questions, guys, in the comments, just let us know now.
But one thing on the Nintendo press conference, and
Yep.
that is Super Smash Brothers got a very special character announced for it.
Banjo-Kazooie!
Banjo-Kazooie, exactly. And
Nice shout.
loads of people
That
have been
trailer was
asking for
amazing.
this forever.
Okay, great shout, dude.
Yeah, the trailer was I laughed my ass off when I saw the sort of how trolly they were to begin with.
That was the way they started that trailer was absolutely beautiful. Duck Hunt. That was, and then everybody, just all the main characters going, when they see Duck Hunt, not Banjo-Kazooie, Duck Hunt dog, and oh man.
So guys, I suppose just a kind of a round question. Jack, what was your favourite conference of E3 2019?
Probably Nintendo's.
Yep. Why was that?
Simply because, as most people know, I'm an avid Pokemon fan. And then Breath of the Wild 2's announcement, which came out and then completely left field. So just mainly out of them, really.
Pat?
I'd have to go with Jack. Yeah, I think Nintendo really just brought the A game. Like it was game after game after game, like loads of games there, and even games that we didn't cover that just look fun to play and that you could easily pick up and play. And as I said, after watching it, I really wish I had a Switch. So they did their job. They sold the product to me that I would really want to play.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm not gonna be playing devil's advocate. I am gonna say Nintendo by an absolute square mile as well. Just, I don't know. There's something about Nintendo that they just seem to do it when, you know, they release these these games with characters that have been around forever, but they still manage to evolve them in a way that is still mind blowing and memorable. And I think just Breath of the Wild for me was one of the most memorable games I ever played. I don't even own a Switch. I got lend of a Switch, and I was like, this is just class. And it was the fact that myself and my son were playing it, and I don't know, there's something about Nintendo that it's so video gamey that it just feels right. You know, you have other developers that make these super realistic games, and it can sometimes take away from the gameplay a little bit. But with Nintendo, a lot of their games are true and true gameplay. Like look at Mario, look at Zelda. I love the fact that in Zelda it's so tactical, the way you take on enemies. Like tactical in a way that you would never really say, oh, Zelda's a tactical game, but the elements that you use to go against other enemies, how you take on bosses, and it's just done in such a quirky, fun way as well. The climbing element in it as well in Breath of the Wild is just so, it feels like you're just on an adventure. And I've always been mad into, you know, fantasy games and blown away by fantasy movies and books, and I think Zelda Breath of the Wild really kind of captured that sense of adventure. And you know, going from start to finish in Nintendo, didn't feel like they were forcing anything. Actually felt like they were a little bit just cool about what they were bringing to the table, and it was so stylistically amazing on the stage. And I don't know, I was blown away by them. I thought they actually saved E3 for me, because I thought apart from them, Microsoft, they did well. I don't want to kind of go away from them, but I think Microsoft could have just done a little bit more for me in terms of show a little bit more of, if you're going to say for the gamers, and try and copy what Sony are doing, show us a bit of gameplay. Like, stop showing us these CGI scripted CGI sequences. That's not what I'm going to be doing in the game. If I want to do that, I'll go and watch an animated show. I want to see gameplay, exactly what I'm going to be doing from, you know, moment to moment in these games. And I think that kind of lacked throughout the whole show, not just with Microsoft. So yeah, I think, guys, to kind of wrap it up, let me see if we have any questions. I think there's a few questions back yonder, but we're kind of going over the time anyway, so let's wrap it up. I just want to say a massive thank you to our sponsor, Kaiju Gaming Lounge. Make sure you head there if you're ever in Cork City. I want to apologise just for the little bit of technical difficulties. We have these every week, do you know what I mean? It's nothing new, but I love the fact that we didn't give up. We tried to, you know, we went for a little bit of a break, we got ourselves sorted, and we came back, and that's what this is all about. You have good shows, you have bad shows, you have shows that don't go the way you want. Hopefully we brought you a nice review of exactly what happened throughout the show. Any last words, guys? Jack?
No last words here from me.
Do you want to tell the good folks where they can find you?
Well, lads, you can find me at the Platinum Jack on Twitch. I've recently started streaming again, and a shout out to 2 for Gaming, because his comment left me in stitches when I was streaming last night. It's true, the legends are real.
Yeah, he's some man himself. Pat?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PatGoneMad, and yeah, usually the videos are up on YouTube if you want to have a look at what I'm doing.
Deadly, man. And you have been doing some great work. Pat actually has a new video up where he looks at the hidden gems of E3, and it's actually very well developed and produced. So head over to the YouTube channel, check that out. Also head over to the Republic of Players community. make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, and then go over to Spotify, which the MP3 for this, we're going to have to chop and change it a little bit to just try and edit it up and edit that break out in the middle. But go head over to the Spotify, make sure you subscribe to the Republic of Players Spotify. Paddy was out this week. He's going to be back next week. We're going to have our usual format back next week. I suppose I'll say it out. Seamus has decided to step down and kind of follow a different path. So best of luck to him in whatever he's going to be doing. I'm sure he's going to do great. So a big shout out to him, and the best of luck to you, buddy. I hope it all works out for you, and you're welcome back whenever you want. And I suppose, yeah, from myself, your host Ronan Fox, Pat and Jack, this has been the Republic of Players podcast episode 33, and next week is going to be a special one because we are actually a year doing this, and we're going to be running a celebration podcast.
So old.
We're going to run a celebration podcast, so thank you so much for joining us. Apologies for the technical difficulties, and we are out.